proposal we were just working on. But similar to what we did for executive summary, I would continue to expand through this proposal. And so this is how I've worked with partners before using this GPT, is that follow the same workflow that we just went through. We will either upload the PDF or the web URL of the grant proposal. You either can add your own organization's website. If you don't feel like your organization's website is a great place to pull information about your organization, you can just upload documents around your organization. So maybe you have a brochure or something that represents the overarching goals of your organization. You can use that. But any documents that kind of represent the program services that your organization does can be used. And you can even use that to expand upon what ChatGPT knows about your organization. So that could be, any documents you may have. And even you can use a previous proposal as an example. So I don't have one at my fingertip, but you could just simply click the clip button, kind of clip art button here, and then upload a document, and then just provide the context to ChatGPT saying, hey, this is more information about my organization. Here's what this document is, and use this to make improvements or have more information about our organization as you're responding to the proposal. But I think this is one thing that you'll see that's probably different than some of you may have used ChatGPT before, but you can use it as a co-pilot. You can use it as a tool to kind of help you navigate through the process section by section to complete your proposal. And you'll see that I'm not trying to write all the proposal at once, but I'm going through using the GPT section by section to write the proposal. So now that if I feel good about my executive summary, I would then go back and ask it to write out the, organizational background. So say, hey, please expand on the organizational background. And so now it will go through and give me a much more extended version of the outline around the organizational background. Again, it's pulling only from the website, but if you were to upload additional documents, it can draw from those to generate the organizational background. So here it's pulling the mission of the church, its history, its accomplishments, and including that into the proposal. Yeah, I'm just quickly eyeballing it. It looks pretty good. Yep, there's multiple locations, large active congregation. So yeah, it looks pretty good. And so this would be the workflow I would go through using this proposal writer to be able to, one, save you time, but also using the best practices we have here to give you a really solid structure for writing a proposal. So if there's any, let me know if there's any additional questions. If not, I'm going to switch over to another tool. I'm going to switch over to the chat to see the questions we have here. And yes, there will be a recording, and let me make sure, since we had to restart the call, that it is recording. So great. Yes, I may have to combine the recordings together since the call ended before we wanted it to. So I'll just, probably give me a little time so I can combine the two recordings into one and put it into a Drive folder. So there'll definitely be a recording. Can we upload Google Doc links to your proposal? So yes, this would be great. I saw that. So yes, you can do two things. So you'll see here in ChatGPT. I'm using ChatGPT for this example, but if you like other tools like Claude or Google Gemini, this approach will work the same, but it won't have this GPT that we've designed that will help you through the process. But if you do have Google Docs or you're using Google Drive, you can connect your Google Drive to OpenAI. They're not going to be looking at all your Google Drive, only the files that you have designated to be able to be used. And also another benefit of this is if you have other proposals you've written, you can use that you can tell ChatGPT, as you're writing this, here's an example of proposals we've written before. Use this to write in our style of writing. and to either use for, you may have in your proposals, maybe quotes or things like that. You can say, hey, Chat GPT, I have quotes. I have testimonials from clients that have been part of our programs. Use this when writing out the proposal. And any additional materials you can upload. I'm going to show you another tool that does this on steroids that really helps with doing this process, but that will help expand. So hopefully this GPT, for some people, have already done a lot already to help improve their grant writing process. And if you're a beginner at grant writing, this will be a huge help to really help you structure it, because we've already kind of done the work for you to help you understand how to structure your grants appropriately. Right.
Marcus, Marcus, one of my
Mhm.
questions, it was probably up at the top of the chat, but if we use the website, let's say we're applying for Bank of America, Wells Fargo grant, and they have a page in their website that actually explains the pillars and their focus areas. Can we use that website to help us put together the proposal? So, and then of course we have to confirm that it's true, but can we use that as well? Do you recommend us using the funders website?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, I'm going to show you the next tool. I'm going to show you, I can give you a sneak peek of it, is that if you use the Chrome browser, like I use the Chrome browser a lot, you can add an extension. And the tool that I'm going to walk you through, you'll be able to highlight a section of text and include that into the process to be able to help you write a grant response. And so if I heard your question correctly, there are sometimes like grant applications that are online. So it's less about you writing the proposal, that you're actually filling in responses in like a web form for the grant. This tool is going to help you do that much more efficiently. So I'll just give you a sneak peek of that. I think I have a web grant up here. Yeah, so here's one. So like here, how long has your organization operated in feeding programs? So I can, it looks like in this case, it didn't copy and paste the text, but I can say, help me respond to this question. But I'm going to show you how this tool works, because there's ways to set this up. But because a lot of times if you're like me and use ChatGPT, sometimes it's hard going back and forth if you're like using a web, there's a web submission form and you may be using ChatGPT or looking at other reference documents, having to go back and forth and have to write in the tool. There's a tool I'm about to shift over to that will help you if you're responding to a web-based tool, to be able to right next to the places that they're asking you the question, you're able to interact with a version of ChatGPT that's tuned to your organization. So then I can just quickly cut and paste and put in my response and done. But actually, this may be a good transition to jump over to that. But I saw there's one last question around typical to use bullet and numbered lists. From my experience, one as a person who has written grants and reviewed grants, a having a response, and this is stylistically, and this even from some of the research we've done, um, having a proposal that is one thing scannable is really helpful. So if the document is structured well in a way that it's easy for the grant reviewer to find each section, and so you'll see that we kind of clearly call out, like using heading styles and make it clear, like here's the goal section. And a lot of times in what we did in our GPT, we made sure it was clear that there's certain things that were called out by the funder to have in the grant. We like create a section related to that in the grant, and we make it clear, we call out the section and we clearly spell out all the things they requested. And so yes, the bulleted and number lists may feel a little rudimentary, but it makes it clear, like, hey, we've identify the item that you asked of us, and here's our response. And it makes it clear, like you're writing it. In many cases, you'll hear some people when they're talking about grant writing and grant responses, that it's almost like a technical, almost like you're writing a technical response to something in college or a thesis, and that you want it to be well structured and it's easy to follow. And so that's why when we're generating proposals using this tool, we're trying to keep the responses structured and bulleted and having a hierarchy, where it feels like an almost like a research paper or paper you do in high school with the sources and structure. So then it's easy for the grant writer to say, all right, where is the implementation plan? Great. I see the heading for implementation plan. I can see we ask for the implementation plan by quarter. So I can see Q1 and I can see the bullets under Q1. I can see Q2 and I can see the bullets under Q2. So the grant reviewer doesn't have to like scan through a bunch of narrative to find the information that's been requested in the grant proposal. They can see, here's the section and here's the response. I don't have to guess where it is. So that's really important because in many times when I was a grant reviewer, you've given a scorecard in the grant review process and it says, do they have an implementation plan? Yes or no? And then it does. And then there's some scoring mechanism of how well you have replied to the implementation plan and the scoring of that grant. So keeping it really concise and really structured makes it easy for the grant reviewer to say, yes, implementation plan, yes. All right, does it have the aspects that we're looking for in the implementation plan? Yes, no, yes, no. So keeping structure will help you as they're doing the grant review process to ensure that they will score you all through the review process. All right. And all right, cool. So that's the GPT. And I believe I can also, as a follow-up, I recently did a podcast with another organization kind of highlighting more about what this GPT does. So that'll be another follow-on that you'll get via email when you get the recording. The next thing I want to highlight, this would be a crash course through Cassidy. There will be opportunity and for those who may have joined late, there was a link that was shared. Actually, I'm going to go back to the deck to a tool called Cassidy. It's actually, sorry, I'm jumping around here. Let me find the deck. There we go. All right, so we've covered kind of the first tool I wanted to highlight today. So this is the first one, and this GPT is great for really want to start testing and using ChatGPT as a tool to help you with the grant writing process. I have on the screen, there's a QR code here for those who are interested in the second tool and wanting to kind of follow along. This tool is called Cassidy.ai. And on Cassidy.ai, and actually I'll go to their webpage. What it allows you to do is to build a very custom AI solution for your team or organization that is customized to your team and allows for your teammates. So if you're working on grants with multiple people, all of you can have access to an AI tool that is specifically configured for your organization. Let me highlight what that actually means. So and hopefully make sure my screen is sharing. Let me share my screen. All right, it looks like I'm sharing. Once you've created an account with Cassidy, you'll see, you hit save because I might have been making some changes here. You'll be able to, just a quick highlight of what it does. You'll be able to create your own custom assistants, and you'll see in here we have, I'll take you through how to create your own grant writing proposal wizard. But what makes this tool unique versus using ChatGPT is that you can upload knowledge related to your organization. So you can upload your website just like we did here. You can upload your annual reports. You can upload budgets. You can upload resumes. All the information here is stored in a very secure way using Azure Cloud and all the like business level security, so you can have peace of mind that the documents you upload here aren't going off somewhere off random in the internet. But you're able to upload all this knowledge about your organization to be able to create a custom proposal writer that is tuned to your organization. And then you can then invite teammates or people on your team to be able to have access to it. So this is a really advanced way if you're looking to go one step above the GPT that I just shared, and you want to have something where 3 or 4, maybe you're on a team of 3 or 4 grant writers, and you want to have access to an AI tool that is already set up and has all the information about your organization. I would go this route if you're part of a larger team and you want to be able to take advantage of AI. And so I've already uploaded one example here where I added uh, a previous nonprofit I worked for. So I went through the process of importing the website to that organization. So I followed steps here, and give me a second. So I can quickly show you how this works. You simply just put in the URL of your or your nonprofit site. Depending on how big your website is, you may want to limit how many pages you're going to extract from your website. You can extract 50 pages, 100 pages, 200. If you have a really big site, you can extract more. And then what's nice about this particular tool is if your organization is frequently updating the site, you can tell it to come back once a month to find new content from your website. So that's a really neat advantage of this. And again, you can then just either just upload PDFs or other files that you can use that then the AI can use over and over again. So you don't have to, every time you have a new proposal, upload the history of your organization. You can have one bucket that has all the important information around your organization, and the AI can always pull from it. So let me know. I know it's maybe a new concept for a lot of people, but let me know if you have questions about that. If not, I will go on to the next step, which is how to find grants. And that was kind of the next big thing that we wanted to highlight here today. And so using Cassidy AI, you can create what we call workflows. So you can combine a little bit of AI with automation to be able to find grants on a recurring basis. And so what I've done as an example, and again, if you're interested in this approach, I won't be able to really go on huge layers of depth around this, but I'll have a place where you can be able to book a one-on-one call with me to learn more about this approach. And if you're looking to like customize this for your own organization, I'll be able to kind of walk you and your team through what this will look like to do this in a more custom way. But here's a workflow that I set up, particularly around finding grant research every single day. So what I've done to create this workflow, I'm going to highlight it for you now, and then I'm going to kind of show you how I set this up. First, I said I want this to run every day at 8 o'clock. I want this tool to search the internet, looking for grant opportunities for children and families, for STEM education and food and nutrition programs. And so I can tell it to look for things that have occurred over the last, that are shown up on the internet over the last 6 months, or maybe the last 3 months, or over the last, maybe I'll set it to the last month. So it's going to search the internet looking for grant opportunities for specifically around children and families, STEM education, food and nutrition. And then once it's done that, it's going to summarize that list. It's going to give me the URL of the site that the grant opportunity is on. It's going to tell me the due date of it. And then I gave it one example of a place where it can look for grants. And then I asked for it to only return back 5 grant opportunities at a time. And then the last part you can do, which be fully customized, where right now I'm sending this daily grant search to our team's internal Slack channel. This could be sent as an email. It could be sent to, I believe they have Microsoft Teams. So depending on what platform makes the most sense to you, you can have the results that get searched every day or once a week sent to a specific place. And so you'll see here, I'm going to pull up our internal Slack channel, and you'll see here's an example of, I think this is the one I ran today. So it pulled up, and even I asked it to put in a form of an email, but all that can be easily changed in the way that the workflow is set up. But it wrote it as an email, but then it gave me this is the Team Nutrition Grant Support Education for college-age children. Here's the URL for it. It wasn't able to determine the due date, so it just kind of labeled that here that it wasn't able to determine that from the website. But here you'll see is linked, providing me links to all of these grant proposals to be able to get access to. And here's one, I guess this is USDA. Oops. All right, so I see there are a couple questions, so I want to make sure I answer those. Let me pull Cassie back up. The one bucket only. Tiffany, do you mind rewriting your question? I'm not sure if I fully understand it. And then I saw there's a question here for ChatGPT. Do we need to use the paid version in order to use the tool? For the GPT, the tool I was showing you, I believe recently ChatGPT has allowed everyone to have access to GPTs. However, the one limitation you will have, if you're not paying for ChatGPT, is the ability to, I believe, the search by, if you wanted to do like the web search, I believe that's only for paid users. I'm going from memory, but I think the web search is the one component you won't get for free. If you like want to do, hey, look at my website and use my website to generate a proposal, you'll need to upload files versus having the abilities to search the web. So that would be the one limitation you would have if you don't have the paid version of ChatGPT. Okay, yes. In Cassie, let me jump back to the knowledge base. When you see my knowledge base, I have a bunch of files in here because I have stuff for our organizations and other clients and things like that. You can just, I'll walk you through the process of building your own custom proposal writer, but you can, I've foldered out my information just because there are certain times when I'm building these custom AI agents, and I'll highlight what that means in a second. I may only want it to look at the team bios because maybe I'm creating a custom assistant that is like building out resumes or improving resumes for the team, or maybe I'm only wanting to write a assistant that is looking at our past proposals or grants, or I want it to look at specific information. So I'm using the folders to group information together. And then once we get into a part where we're building out our custom proposal writer, you can select more than one folder of information at a time that it draws from to build your proposal. But for me, because we're using this for a number of different things, we have a couple of different folders that we have structured to draw information for different topics. So that hopefully that explains or addresses your question. All right, cool. And I see any other question. All right, cool. I think I saw one more. Can we find grants for social enterprise for-profit companies? Absolutely. So that same way I wrote that workflow to target nonprofits that you can, and actually, I'll do this quickly. I'm going to do it live. Let's see if this works well. But let's do a new workflow. I'm going to say create a new workflow, and I'm going to say custom. Help me find for-profit grants for startups or Black entrepreneurs. I may have gotten that. Fix my typos here. And send me a list once a week. So what this will do, and this one thing that I really love about Cassie, it will help build it for you. So you don't have to be an AI engineer to figure this part out. This tool will actually help you design a workflow around any needs that you may have. And so now it's done it for me. So now it's created a workflow that's going to run at 8 o'clock on Sunday. It's going to search the internet for-profit grants for startups for Black entrepreneurs. And I'm just going to refine this to be for the past month instead of all time, because then that means we're going to find grants that are no longer like relevant. And then it's going to summarize the results of the web search. And this is one aspect here that we didn't cover, but could be helpful for those who are really interested in like adjusting the different models. But with Cassie, you're able to use ChatGPT. You can use other models like Google Gemini, but for now, I'm going to upgrade to GPT 4.0, which is the latest version of ChatGPT. And then it's going to send me an email. So I'm going to give this a run to see how this works. So I'm going to run this workflow. So it's going to search the internet. So you can see it searched the internet and it found the top 4 grants for Black business owners to consider on Shopify, grant funding opportunities support Black charities, free grant programs for small businesses, 29 grant minority small business grants. So it found a pretty solid list of them. So now you'll see this is what it generated. So PowerShift Entrepreneur Grants for $25,000. They're awarding 20 grants for $25,000 through the NAACP. And here's a link to it. And you'll see just like that within a few seconds, I now have an automated grant researcher that once a week it's going to look for-profit startup grants for Black entrepreneurs. And yeah, it found, I'll just click on the first one here. Let's see this one. This one looks interesting. Yeah, so here it's found, I guess, yeah, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and this is the grant opportunity, the one that we just saw for $25,000. Click here to apply. There we go. So just that quickly, we found and created a grant researcher for us that will send us an email once a week with grant opportunities for us to take a look at. Any questions there before I switch gears? But yeah, for social enterprise, it'll be the same thing, that you can refine how it searches, even giving it example sites for it to look at to be able to be really helpful in cases that you're looking for more opportunities. All right, cool. All right, so let's get into with the last of our time. And again, this is probably more than we can cover in one session, but this is a crash course. You can tinker some more. And using Cassidy, it's free to use and try. And so it's a great place to start your process. I'll show you one of the grant proposal writers, but similar to the workflow, you can go through their steps to build out a assistant. So this is my grant proposal writer assistant. I've given it a description. I guess we still haven't got that sorted out. I've given it a grant description, or a description of what I want this assistant to do. It's a grant proposal writer wizard that's helping you write effective grant proposals. It's been given instructions, and so it'll be hard for me to copy and paste this all into chat. So you'll get an email following this that has these instructions that you can copy and paste into your own assistant. But it's the similar instructions that we have in the GPT that we built. So it's providing a really well-structured prompt, basically. So every time this assistant responds to your questions about writing a proposal, it's doing it in the same structure that we did in GPT. Summarize the goals, identify the program that's appropriate for that grant, create an outline, define the steps to complete the outline for the proposal, and then write each section. We have some additional instructions for how this assistant should write. So it should follow the review guidelines. So we have text enhancement, use the knowledge base. We have critiques in here on how it should format the document, and we have instructions for the style. We have, even in here, we tell it to avoid excessive filler words in the style of it. So all this will be in a document we can share that you can use to improve the outputs. Also, what's nice about Cassidy, what you can do as well with ChatGPT, is that you can upload documents to give it your brand voice. So if there's style guides or things that you use inside your organization to how you write or talk about your organization, you can include that there. And this is where the knowledge base kicks in. You can see now that I've uploaded documents, I can now select my knowledge base for the organization. So now that I selected the knowledge base, I can use that to be able to um, assign the knowledge base to the assistant that I'm using for my AI responses. So let me just show you what this looks like, because I know it probably feels like a lot of jargon. So now I can go in here and I can take a proposal and I can upload a file. So I'm going to upload a grant proposal here. So I'm going to go find it here. And so now I have a custom assistant that's synced to all of my organization's information, its website, and I will now ask it, help me draft the proposal outline for this RFP. And so now it'll look at that RFP. It also has all this information about my organization. And so now it's going to generate the outline for this proposal response. What you'll see that's going to be very different than ChatGPT is that it's now going to, when it's generating responses, it's going to show me which document from my knowledge base that it's drawing this information from. So here you'll see it's pulled from source 8. So it's pulled, I can go and find out exactly what part of my website that it's pulling this information from.
Kind of cool, actually.
Which is huge in terms of making sure that the responses that you're getting, you feel confident about. And so that's going to be really important for those who are new to ChatGPT to be able to do that. And then I can have it to actually.
I was doing this just in case if he messes up with the recording,
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah. And then draft the first section of the proposal. All right, so now you can see, now based upon this, you can see I now have my own custom proposal writer that is now responding specifically to this grant. It's using my custom knowledge. And then this is the last thing I want to show, and then we can go into kind of final questions, is that the advantage of using Cassie, like I shared before, is it has this Chrome extension. So if you do have a grant submission that requires completing the grant online, you don't have to keep jumping back and forth to ChatGPT. You can pull up your grant proposal wizard and then highlight maybe a section of text and then ask it to respond to that section of text. So respond for this section of the grant. So this becomes a really powerful tool when you have to maybe reply to a grant that's online. And so now you're able to kind of look at the view of writing to that grant response. You're able to quickly pull up your custom proposal writer on the right-hand side and just highlight text. This comes really powerful. I use this a ton. And so that's probably one thing that I use the most out of Cassie is that put the knowledge base in for my organization, even for things that I put in the team resumes. So even if there's a question of give us the background of your team or highlight your board. Great, cool. Hey, assistant, draw from our resumes, write a response related to the board member or the breakdown of the board. And this becomes a really powerful tool to be able to quickly go through an online form that you have to submit for a grant. So I know we're starting to run out of time here, so let me know if you have questions. Oh, so for the grant proposal wizard here, to do that, similar to the workflow, you can create your own, either using, they have a starter one that you can click here, or you can completely start using a custom one. And with the custom one, it works the similar way, where you just type in, I want to create a custom RFP proposal writer using my no kid hungry knowledge base. And then what it will do next is it's going to ask you some follow-on questions so that it can help you build this proposal writer for you. And that's the main reason why I wanted to present this one today, because now you don't have to be an AI expert. You just need to follow the instructions. So you can go through here and provide it additional information about what you want this AI assistant to do. So here's asking, you know, what type of RPs would you like to respond to, or what specific information. Give us more details about your organization. What key factors should this assistant do? So if you fill in these questions, it will help it build a better AI assistant tuned to you. And then you'll be able to have your custom proposal. Oh, actually, and we shift back to the slides, but that really kind of covers, I know that was a crash course and a lot of stuff, but I want to give you a couple of tools that would kind of get you going. Let me go through a couple of questions, and then I'm going to pull up the slide. It has access to, if you're looking to, if you have even more questions that you would like answered, you can schedule a time. So let me just get the screen share going here. All right, so we cover the Chrome extension. Yes, if you're interested, and actually I'll cut and paste this into the chat. So if you are interested in setting up a one-on-one session, that's here in the chat. If you're registered, you'll get this on the follow-on email. But definitely thank you for joining on this Saturday. I want to be respectful of your time not to go over here. When we get here right here, 12 o'clock. Have you used AI to create PowerPoint decks? Absolutely. This deck was used. I used a platform called Tome, TOME.app. It's actually a really great tool for creating AI using proposals. Or TOME app. Here, yep. So this one's really great. There's another one that I use, but Tome I really enjoy. But thank you guys for joining on a Saturday, and you'll definitely, everyone who's registered, will follow email with their transcript and all the materials we shared here today. And then feel free to follow me on LinkedIn, connect with